faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Though I'm geared with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective. Smeared faces, Lord, they hate to hear your message. Though I'm geared with your protection, your armor that I've been blessed with, no stressing. When I'm trying to teach them all your lessons, they looking at me crazy like I got a weird perspective.
Yo, what's going on, YouTube? Your boy Derry. I am back with another video. And I am continuing on in this amazing marriage series that I'm in called The Myths of Marriage. A lot of us who are married have these false expectations of what we think marriage would be and how it's going to save us or help us, or we're not going to be alone. We're not going to struggle with certain different things. And today we are going to talk about it. And so I got an amazing couple. Now, this isn't just a couple. I know I say that a lot. This isn't just another couple that I know or that are acquaintances. This is actually my big bro and big sis. I love this couple. They have been an inspiration and an encouragement to my life and my family's life. They have blessed us beyond what they can know. Like, when we have disagreements in my home, like, this couple's name comes up, and so please welcome to the channel Donald and Jordan Owens.
Thank you for having us.
Oh no, man, the pleasure and the honor is all mine. I am excited to see you guys sitting across from me and us being able to talk about nothing else but then marriage. But before
what else is there?
What is there? I know. Well, before we get into what we're here for, share a little bit about yourselves, individually. What do you guys do for a living? We'll start with the Mrs. Jordan.
Okay. So, for a living, I'm the Vice President of Educational Services, Director of Special Education for the Chicago Lighthouse, and the Principal of the Chicago Lighthouse Children's Development Center. So
Hey.
that is what I do.
VP behind the name. Put some respect on
that name. Put some respect. My turn now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I am a professional baby maker. Yeah. 5 years. Yep. Good job. Yeah, job is good. No, I'm an educator for the Chicago public school system. Had many different roles. My next role is middle school math teacher on the south side of Chicago.
Okay. How long you guys been together?
We've been together. It'll be 14 years in October.
Yes.
14 years.
14 years in October, married for 12.
So we met, man, I met you guys that year y'all got married.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep.
So it's been a while. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
It was that, yeah.
Yeah, it was that year, Don.
It was.
Because then you all that next year, right? You all got married on my birthday that next year.
Yep.
Yep.
Which is why they didn't come. I'm still.
I was there. We were there for a minute.
I was there for a minute.
But it was my birthday.
Yeah, no, you had to go celebrate. So what's some interesting things about you guys selves or your experience together that y'all wouldn't mind sharing? Just a fun, interesting, maybe spicy fact.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite stories to tell.
Okay.
On our first official date, right? So Donald picked me up, and we were like these slim, trim, really great looking people. We still are. We're just not slim and trim. But we were driving from the sushi place. First, he would not let me use a fork to be cute while eating sushi. He forced me to use chopsticks. Okay, it was cool.
Just dropping sushi everywhere.
You got it.
I need to make sure she can follow direction. That's all.
Mm-hmm. He's such a hater. But then on the drive, so we're talking. I'm like, we're having a really great conversation. He's so nice. And then he was like, I was going to bring you flowers. Because I was like, it's kind of weird. I didn't get flowers on our first date. And I was like, okay, why didn't you bring me flowers? You know, they've been nice. He was like, well, you know, because maybe I want flowers. Why can't somebody bring me flowers? I would like a bubble bath. Can't somebody run me a bubble bath?
All right, it's the first date.
First date. First date. Driving to Rumba, which we were going to meet up with some of his friends. And
I was trying to heal. Brother was trying to heal.
All I could think was, well, I'll be lucky if he doesn't kill me, because he's probably a serial killer. Because he went straight 0 to 60 talking about, well, I would like some flowers. Can somebody bring me some flowers? I was like, yeah, I don't know if this is going anywhere.
That's a prime example of when a good guy has reached his mark.
It's like, who hurt you? Who hurt you?
I was really on it. Well, no, let me not say that, because let me not say that.
We're gonna say that for another podcast.
There you go.
We'll say it for
Another one.
Yeah.
So you guys been together, married 14 years. How long did y'all date before you got married?
Married 12 years.
Married 12 years.
Together 14.
14. Okay.
Yeah. So we actually got engaged 6 months after we first got together.
Okay.
And then the only reason that we didn't marry right away was because we were paying for our own wedding. And so we took 11 months to just pay everything off. So we went into our marriage with no like wedding debt or anything like that. But I mean, technically we dated for 6 months. We were engaged for 11.
Okay. How did y'all meet? You got to give us the story. How did y'all meet?
You can give
Was this college? Was this after college? How did y'all meet?
It was definitely after college. We both had recently just graduated from our institutions. She had her job. I was struggling to try to find, some work. But we ended up at the same location through her cousin and through my best friend who were dating. And so she came to the party. I was eyeing her. Oh, she looks nice. You know what I'm saying? She got herself some food, and I was like, let me go ahead and offer her my seat. She sat down and she started eating, and me and my friend decided to play spades, and they joined in to play against us, her and her friend, and we whooped their tail.
Only because, and I'm gonna name drop Nina, only because Nina reneged. Okay.
But at the end of the day,
come on, Nina.
We still won.
Don't be reneged.
We still won, right? And so from there, I took that time to go ahead and introduce myself and had some good conversations, and she decided to leave. And then I Facebook stalked her. Got her name and information, and found out who she was, and asked her out on the date via Facebook, and it's been history ever since.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. The mixers, boy. The mixers.
Hey.
100%.
6 degrees of separation.
So what did you like about her? And what did you like about him?
Go ahead and say it. I know exactly what you're about to say.
It was them cheeks.
You shared that before, but I wasn't expecting to say that. I mean, say something else.
I knew that's exactly
It
what
was the well-formed figure and how she dressed and carried herself that made me look at her the way she did. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Should I tell them how you got me?
No, because it wasn't intentional. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, let her tell what she likes about you, or what she liked about you when she first seen you.
You know what? The truth is, he was just a really nice guy, but I was in this space where I had determined that I was not going to date anymore. I was done fooling with men. I had gotten adoption papers because I was like, I want to be a mom, but I'm not going to go out here and have sex without being married, so I'm okay. And had adoption papers ready. And I was like, Lord, bump that. I'm done. And then I met him. He was a really, really nice guy and everything. He was skinny, though. And, I mean, he was tall and good looking, but he was skinny, and I like big boys. And so I was like, well, he's nice. If he reaches out, I might go out with him.
Mm-hmm.
You say you was skinny?
I was swole. I don't know what you
No, he
talking about.
wasn't. He was
I was
skinny.
busting out my shirts, man.
He was a nice athletic build.
Right, right.
Whoa.
He was so proud of his European cut pants that he wore to our first date. He was like, I was like, man, he's cute, but if he could just like build this up a little bit and, you know, all of that. He got that our first year of marriage, and he like bulked up like
never
that.
stopped, boy. I tell you, that was doing everything.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's what I loved about him.
Okay, so you guys met, started dating. You was a little too skinny, Donald. How did what was the history? Was there any? Because I think you guys' story is unique in a way. Like you guys had a lot of things that you guys did together. Like you bought a house. You guys had kids after you were married. You guys did things in a proper order. Was that planned? Was that talked about? How did that happen? Because that doesn't always happen.
Not necessarily. Well,
It was talked about.
so she definitely had some standards that I had to make sure that I met in order to continue to pursue her, right? You know, and you know, I grew up Christian, you know, but when I met her, what was out here?
In these streets.
I was in these streets.
You was outside.
He was
I was outside, showing all my muscles. And so when I met her, it was interesting because she was like, you know, I'm saving myself for marriage. I don't do those things. And I'm out here seeing, you know, a few other women.
I was on a rotation.
And I'm like, bump that. I don't need you.
So you had the little black book. You had the Rolodex.
Man, I had my not black book, my BlackBerry. Swiping.
He had a whole roster.
A whole roster. Don't look at me any differently. You know, we all have our moments. You know, there's a saying that, you know, men don't heal, we hope. And so,
I ain't heard that one before.
you haven't heard that one before? Man, it's an interesting concept.
That definitely
Very
is.
interesting concept. I was trying to find some healing through other people
Yeah.
instead of just trying to fix myself.
And I was at the altar crying out for you. I'm joking.
Hey, we all have our own progress, our own process. You know what I'm saying? So I think what it was we went on one of our dates. Well, it wasn't even a date. I just went to go see her. After leaving the date, I went to go see her.
Rolled up to my house.
Smelling like the other girl's
Yes!
perfume. Crazy. Could at least change the shirt, dog.
I wasn't thinking like that. I had a box of baking soda in the car. Didn't work. But anyway, we went out for a walk to the pier. So I went to go visit her. I'm like, hey, come downstairs. Let's go for a walk. And this woman who was crying at the altar came downstairs in the smallest pair of shorts I've ever seen in my life.
To my defense, he was not supposed to come over, and I was comfortable in my apartment.
And the reason why you said what cheeks, brother, cheeks. So we walked to the pier, and in my mind, I'm like, man, you know, I like her a lot. You know, we gonna see where this goes, but this whole waiting to marriage thing, I don't know. So we start talking, and I'm like, you know, I really like you, but I want to be honest with you. I'm seeing other women.
Okay, wait. Let me tell you how he did it, though. It was so savage because Nina and I lived in Rogers Park, off of Clark and Farwell. And so we were like 3 blocks away from the pier, and it was beautiful. We walked out onto the pier in the middle of the night, moon shining, glistening on the water. I'm thinking this man is about to tell me.
Proposal time right here, dog.
I'm thinking, and we had only been talking for about a week and a half at this point.
About 3 weeks?
No, it was about 2 weeks.
Not about 3.
About 3 weeks, okay. But we had seen each other every single day for 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm thinking he's gonna be like, I want us to be exclusive. I want you my girl, right? And so he's holding my hands, and I'm swooning because he's 6'3".
Holding hands.
And I'm looking up at him, and he's like, I really like you. And I want to be honest with you. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And he goes, I'm seeing other people. And all my brain said was, see, this is why you gave up men. This is exactly why you gave up men. But keep on.
She goes and says something to the lines of, I'll wait for you until you get your mind together, whatever. And I was like, no, you're not. She was like, you're right.
You're right. I'm not.
I'm not going to wait for you.
I was just trying to be cute.
At that moment, I was like, yo, she knows what she wants. I know what I want. So let me figure this thing out real quickly. So as we were walking back home, trying to be chivalrous, walking on the side of the street and crossing the street and everything else, I just kept seeing at the corner of my eye, cheeks.
This man is so silly.
Dropped off at the house, drove home, and on my way home, I had a few Harlem night moments. I was texting and calling people, say, hey, tell your mom and daddy ain't come home.
Hey, coming back on.
It's over. We good. And I made it exclusive in my mind that night, and I told her the next day. And so it's been, communication about, what we want from that moment forward, because I knew that she knew what she wanted, and I wanted somebody who knew what they wanted and could make me really figure out, to help me figure out what I wanted in terms of the relationship piece, because I didn't want nobody that I could just walk all over. And because I saw that she wasn't gonna let me just walk all over her. So she had value in herself. So like, you know what? She's worth it.
How did you struggle to believe him, or you believed him like right away?
I believed him. He hadn't given me any reason not to. And I knew my reaction to that. So when he drove off, I went upstairs and I felt heartbroken. And my best friend Nina was like, girl, what's going on? And I told her what happened. She was like, oh, I don't like him. And I was like, I don't even know, Nina. And so then I went into the bathroom to take a shower, and I turned on Adele's Make You Feel My Love, which ended up being our wedding song. And I was in the shower crying, talking about, when the rain is falling in. Just because I was heartbroken. And it made me realize, like, would I have actually waited for him to get himself together? Maybe. Would I have taken a little longer to get over what felt like a rejection? Absolutely.
Okay. So you was like, yeah, it's over with. I'm just trying to picture Donald in a car. Or it's BlackBerry.
Hey, baby, it was nice.
Was it text message or was it phone calls?
Some would text, some would phone calls.
Oh, man.
Well, and this was also after he had an ex when we were first dating who was like, hey, you know what? Come kick it with me, blah, 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 blah. And someone he had gone back and forth with,
No.
I'm not going to say her name.
Okay, thank you.
He was nearly engaged to this person previously. And she was trying to convince him to go out with her, and was like, yeah, your new girl won't mind. And when he told me, I was like, oh, no, your new girl would have mind. I would have had a big problem with that. But it's one of those things where Donald was not intentionally nonchalant about being around other people and women and all of that, and doing his thing. So when he did finally determine that he was going to settle down and I was his choice, I believed him, because he didn't have to cut loose. I think it was about 4 or 5 women that he had on rotation. And it meant a lot to me because there was the commitment, knowing that I didn't want to start our marriage with skeletons because we had slept together, and the regret in that prior to us getting married. So he didn't have to cut everybody else who was willing to give it for someone who wasn't. So.
That's good. That's good.
Once again, please don't judge me by my past. I know a lot of you see me a certain way. Just hold that image in your mind. I'm still that same guy. Just what happened in the past was the past.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
The Lord forgave you, and
Hey, you know what? You're right.
your sins are forgiven, and He don't remember them. He don't bring them
We
back
all
up.
have a past.
If anybody bring them up, tell them they operating as the devil.
Man.
'Cause the devil is the accuser of the brethren.
Say it again.
Yep. So, yeah, we ain't gonna do that. Yeah. So, anybody in the comments, I just boot them. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into some of these myths that you guys may have had before you got married, and then how they changed over time. What was some of the big ones that you guys had? Yeah, what'd you think? Like, I get married, it's gonna be this way, it's gonna be that way, and then you quickly realize, like, oh no, this is not what it is.
I think the biggest one is the roles.
Yeah.
Right, the roles that you're supposed to play in a marriage. Right.
Like how the sitcoms make it look like the man
Right.
just goes to work, come home, plop on the couch with a beer in his hand.
Well, not just that, but just like what you're supposed to do within that marriage. Like when we first got married, it was like, I'm taking up the garbage. Don't you touch that garbage? What's wrong with you? We get into an argument about that, or I'll try to cook some dinner, and she'll be like, "Don't you touch that stove? That's my stove." I'm like, I've been cooking all my life. Like, you can tell I know how to cook. Let me cook, woman. So it's just certain things that, we realize is not real. Like, yes, as a man, I'm supposed to be a provider and a protector, but also my wife has desires of doing things and making an impact in the world. And if she can do that by making some money, then by all means, go ahead and do it. Children, right? Historically, women are supposed to be ones taking care of their children. We do it 50-50, or I'm sorry, we do it 100-100.
Yeah.
All right, we both, raise our children. We both do the laundry. We both clean the house. Mm-hmm. She does a lot better than I do, but we both clean the house. You know what I mean? So it's just understanding that the roles aren't always defined and they can always change, and it's okay because we're people. We change, we grow, things happen.
Yeah.
Be flexible with the roles.
I would say, along that line, we were in a spiritual community at the time where that was the pressure, right? And I always wanted my career. I was very focused. I knew what I wanted to do. I had pursued it. I'd gotten all the degrees, and I was happy and fulfilled in that because I was walking in purpose. But the minute, I got engaged and we were moving towards marriage, all of this talk and pressure about, well, when you have babies, you're going to have to stay home because they'll miss this and you'll miss all of these things and you won't see that and you won't be able to take care of your household. And God's call for women is, you can be the entrepreneur, but you need to stay at home and do it at the same time. And I wrestled really hard with that because it made me feel like, well, God, did you not call me to something? Is this selfish ambition versus what you called me to do in the world? And what I am always thankful to God for is that Donald shows up in my life very much like the Lord does in presence, right? And in affirmation of purpose. Because when we got to that point, Donald was like, who said you couldn't do this? And who said you couldn't do that? And even after we had our first baby, he'd be like, Jordan, you're not a single mom. I'm here. I can do this. I can help with that. All of these things, he pushed me to continue on to get my EDS and to take chances with my job and everything, and to help clear out the noise of what I was supposed to do in other people's, kind of
Thoughts and opinions.
Yeah, their mindsets of what I was supposed to do to be a good helpmate to my husband. And we got better and I got better when I embraced that in order to be who God called me to be as his wife, I have to be who he called me to be first. So
That's good. That's really good. I think that's a deep conversation that I think a lot of women are starting to have now, because you got a lot of women who go to school, they work their butt off, man, to
They're
get these
brilliant.
degrees, and then to just say, now that you're in a relationship and you're married, drop all that and
Yeah.
raise these kids, and then but that's 18 years, you just stay home and don't do nothing until, you could maybe work a little job, or you can be part of some mom club, or, maybe serve at the church, you know what I'm saying, in the youth ministry or the kids ministry, but they're like, that's it. And I think that's just so disheartening.
Yeah.
And just a lack of understanding that, man, with Proverbs 31, like, that woman was out. You know what I'm saying? She was, she got the blessings of her family to go and go and be about it. You know what I'm saying? And so,
Got it.
yeah, I'm happy that you took that stand and you stood on business.
Yeah. That was,
Yeah, for sure.
that was, I honestly, he had to drag me out. And that's not to say that at times I'm like, Lord, can we inherit so I can just take a rest and be a stay-at-home mom?
Oh, yeah.
But being a stay-at-home mom isn't a rest either. So
I told Twyla,
I feel
look,
like
hey, Twyla, if she blow up, I'll be doing this and being a stay-at-home dad. I'll be supporting her with them baby. You go, girl. Yep, Dash.
Biggest
Wait till your
cheerleader.
mama.
right.
But I know the type of woman my wife is, and even if you did win the lottery and got like millions and millions of dollars, like she would still find some way to do something actively and working, like building her own foundation or something like that. Like she cannot stay at home.
I'm waiting for the book to drop. I'm waiting on the book to drop. I'm waiting on the story, and we'll talk about it off camera.
Tyler Perry ain't got nothing.
Wait for the book that's gonna go into the movie that's gonna spin off into a sitcom and the whole you dig. So we waiting on that to happen, because I think there's a lot of things
Can you
that.
believe Donald did that?
Well,
Oh
not,
my God.
I mean, just not just in marriage, but just I know
Life.
stuff because we know each other.
Yeah.
Things that happen in your childhood and stuff like that. That is like, man. And I think, like I said earlier, God, He uses our testimony. And we should be sharing that with the world.
Yeah.
And somebody will be blessed by it. And I think that, Jordan's story is unique and powerful, and it needs to be shared. It needs to be in some type of book or something. Maybe we start off with a podcast or something. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Okay. Yeah. And so you said, Donald, you said roles was one of the biggest misconceptions that you had about marriage, and you said yours was, if I could put one word on it, was, what'd you say?
It's about the same roles and purpose, probably, in marriage.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna put some topics on these things so we can dive into it. And so, the biggest one, especially for men, is sex. Did you guys
I'm
have?
just gonna tell you, like, that's one of your misconceptions too.
We probably got misconceptions in all of these areas, but I'm gonna just name them off. But sex, did y'all have?
Premarital sex?
No.
Oh.
Or did y'all have any?
No, we did not.
They waited to marriage.
We waited. We did.
No, but did y'all have any?
Oh man,
Any
yeah.
like,
It was-
if I get married, man, it's in house, dog. Like, be getting this every day. Donald cheeks. Did y'all have any of those?
You
And
gotta
then
think about when we first got married, babe. Like not now. When we first got married, because things are shifting and changing, and so
they should.
Yeah, and it's
That's
interesting how again the roles have shifted, right, and changed. But yeah, like you do like. I think the idea is that when you're single, as men, you typically have to go out and hunt for sex. You got to go out and find the person who's willing, spend the time, the energy, and all that other stuff. Even when you're in a relationship, sometimes it's a little bit different, right? But the idea is when you get married, when you come home, it should be readily available, right? And that's not the case all the time. I'm not saying with us. I'm just saying just.
I was about to get offended.
It's not the case all the time because sometimes people go through stuff and they get stressed out. And our issue when we first got married was timing for us because for me, sleep was sacred. I needed to go to sleep. And like, she would want to wait until I'm in the bed, eyes are closed, halfway snoring, and be like, what you want to do? Sleep?
Oh, that would make me mad.
And then when I wake up first thing in the morning, I'm energized, you know, first thing in the morning. And she be like, I'm dead to the world. Leave me alone. And so it was the whole timing thing, right? You know, when we came home from work and want to do something that was different or just throughout the day, but like those romantic late nights or romantic early in the morning situations that we try to always do, it just wasn't happening because I'm like, man, if you want to do it, hit me up before I hit the bed. Like, real talk.
And I was like daydreaming about the romance. He like, come in, you see me, and then we like kiss and take all the clothes off on the way to the bed. And Donald early was like, I don't know. Almost like, did you put it on my calendar? Just be like, no, Donald, wake up. And so as we've evolved though, like with kids, and I had 4 extremely hard pregnancies. And so, you know, sex wasn't a big thing until I didn't not feel great. And that was like at 9 months and I had this big old belly and I was like, come on, I ain't had it in forever. And Donald was like,
you were afraid for the baby, man. I don't want to cause brain damage to this child.
Exactly. And so then though, you know, it evolves and we've always been sexually compatible, which is very fortunate. But as we've like grown to know each other and things like that, after he had his vasectomy, I was like, well, I can't get pregnant anymore. So when, where, how, don't ask why. Right. So
I feel like a piece of meat.
Well, and he be going to bed and it's funny because it's almost flipped. Like Donald was like, okay, you know, let's get some sleep. Let's do this. I was wrestling with my students and I'm like, I was wrestling with the kids. And he's like, yeah, let's sleep and cuddle. And so we're cuddling and then I'm trying to get him in the mood and stuff. And he's like, babe. I was like, okay, well, just let me touch it. And he was like, no, because if you touch it, then you're going to want to do more. And then I'm just like, but just let me.
Kids.
I'm sorry. This went 0 to X-rated real fast.
I don't think no kids is watching this.
Right? But it was right. It has flipped, right? Because now I'm not in this space of worrying about if I'm going to get pregnant and have a 5th horrible pregnancy. I've got the freedom, and Donald's like, okay.
You speak about that just a little bit, just from a woman's perspective on like having kids, like going through this, like, you know, you say you had 4, you know, very hard pregnancies, and like what that does to a woman's mind.
Yeah.
And emotions and everything.
Well, I'll say for me, it was hard. 2 of our kiddos were planned and 2 were very unexpected blessings. I don't regret at all any of the pregnancies, but Coco and Angel were both planned. We actually.
Which one? They're gonna watch this bag and
we love you very, very much.
Oh man.
For me, it almost felt like PTSD because I had severe hyperemesis gravidarum that got worse with each pregnancy, and so
I'm not even gonna try to say that.
Morning sickness times 10. Like I was sick from the moment I opened my eyes to the moment I went to bed.
It was like
I remember them days.
It was like good morning. Good morning, baby.
It was terrible.
Turn on the water.
Really quick,
Cut the light on.
When we lived with you guys, what pregnancy was that?
That was Donald.
That was Man. Yeah, that was Man.
Okay. And
Because they woke up Catherine.
but just tell a really quick story of the first time, probably the only time that I've ever was scared of Jordan. She was pregnant, and my daughter Tahili would have these like night terrors, and she would like scream and wake everybody up. And walls was thin, and I just remember being woken up and then walking out and seeing Jordan with this towel on her head. And her standing there, and daughter was standing off to the side. And she was like, Derry? And I was like, I'm going to get him. Listen, pregnant woman, say something, things got to start moving. And I was like, I don't want no smoke.
Listen, those pregnancies were rough. And then after every baby, I had postpartum depression. And remember like being afraid after the first one because I sought help, pastoral help at the time, and was not given very great advice or counseling.
I got to interview y'all pastors out here, y'all.
Ooh, it was bad. Because I was depressed, but was still under this thinking that, you know, meds and all of that meant no faith, right? And so the hyperemesis got worse with every pregnancy, and the postpartum depression got worse with every pregnancy, to the point where after I had Angel, I was so down. Like I never had any issues bonding with any of my babies. I never wanted to harm any of my babies. I got to the point where I decided they were better without me. Wow. And my OBGYN caught it one visit, postpartum visit. And she was like, you're in a cycle and you've got to get this checked. So by the time Ida came around, I was really upset with God that for the fourth time, my pregnancy put me in the hospital. And this time I was in the hospital for 2 weeks, fighting to save Ida and me because my body was just tired. And then
rejecting everything she tried to put in.
Everything. I couldn't even keep IV fluids in. And I wasn't even taking that in.
Wow.
And so I was mad at him for that. And then I had Ida, and the postpartum depression came, and I was angry at him for that. I was like, you didn't give me reprieve for one thing. You could have given me reprieve for the other. And it did take a tumble on our relationship, but also our sex life, because it became more about, let me make sure I am available to him and please him regardless if, you know, I'm satisfied or anything like that, because it can't be one more thing that I lose in my life. Because at that point, I felt like I'd lost my body. I had all this weight. I thought I had basically lost my mind because of the depression.
Wow. That's something that at least I know amongst men we don't talk about enough. And this came up in the dating episode that I did, where, you know, this one guy had said that I was talking to. This was before we recorded, but he was like, you know, I need to see, you know, my future wife in like every situation. And I was like, you'll never see her in every situation. And you probably don't want to see her in every situation before you decide on, because you want to see how she handles it. I was like, what about you? How you gonna handle certain things? Because there was times when, you guys know, my wife have went through, you know, certain situations and I didn't handle it right. And I didn't know how to handle it, because I was like, there's no book for this. There's nothing that can compare you for when your wife is going through this rough pregnancy or you lose a child. How do you mentally, spiritually prepare somebody for that? And I think, just for the men, we need to start like actually having these conversations, because these are real situations that you're going to go through in some type of way. I'm not necessarily going to say you're going to go through losing a child, but like starting to think through that. Like, what if this does happen? You know, how am I supposed to respond to these things. And so how was that time for you, Donald?
I was lost. I had no idea she was going through mentally what she was going through outside of whatever she expressed, right? In my world, I was just mad that I couldn't have chicken because
The no meat thing.
No meat.
Yeah.
I couldn't
as a
smell
black man who couldn't have chicken.
And that does an amazing job at grilling.
right.
Fam.
Y'all don't understand. Like she went to work. I stayed at home and made 1 packet of ramen noodles, chicken flavored. She came home and was like, "Oh, it's cooking chicken." But yeah, there were times where I saw that she really had this drive to do everything on her own and to combat everything on her own, and I didn't know how to ask the right questions or what to do, so I just tried to, be of service as much as I possibly could and try to reaffirm her in certain ways, but not knowing exactly what she needed, right? Like I had no idea how she was feeling about God during those times. And you talk about Ida, I think about it. That's the breaking dawn baby right there. You know what I'm saying? Just broke your body down.
She did 100%.
And when she finally told me what she was experiencing after talking to her therapist or
Psychologist.
her psychologist, I felt like I failed at being a husband because I should have been able to pick up on it. But like you said, there's nothing out there to help us figure these things out, right? And so I just tried my best to be there and to not cause any other issues outside of what I knew that she would kind of be sent off about, like just trying to really train the kids and be like, yo, get your life together. they 2 and 3 years old. Like, hey, get your life together.
Hey, pick them Legos up, cuz. Hey, don't be having them Legos out of order, man.
But, I should have been more vocal with her about, how she's feeling, asking those questions, or how she's doing, as just, instead of just assuming she would tell me whenever she felt like it. And I think that's one of the things now, like whenever I have a friend who is expecting a baby or has had a baby, like I'm texting right away, hey, bro, your wife is finna change. She might not say nothing about it, but you need to make sure that you recognize those changes and don't let her do everything on her own. Like, be there for her, not just the baby. Yeah, I got you. No, bro, you're not listening to me. Everything is about to change. Not for the worse, but just it's gonna be different.
Yeah.
You gotta be present.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we say that that's a myth of marriage too? That when you become parents, it's going to be this, we're 100% an open partnership and we know how to do this together and we'll make it through together. That goes out the window when you haven't slept for 48 hours. And
also thinking about how people have different mindsets of when it comes to children too.
Yeah.
Like, we definitely have different mindsets when it comes to disciplining our children and
we do
certain things, right? I come from a very militant educational background in terms of there has to be rules and orders and procedures for everything else. That don't really work at the house. It don't really work at the house. Because of her background, she wants to have a more loving, open household. And I'm like, nah, man, these kids are not going to tear up my house.
When I say sit down. Did you guys have conversations about like parenting and the style? Are we gonna whoop? Are we not gonna whoop?
Man, those are continual conversations, bro. Like the last week I was talking to my kid and she goes, you need to watch your tone when you talking to the children.
Wait. Oh, Jordan, I thought this kid said that. I was about to say, whoa.
I was like, what I say? Like, you're getting too loud with her. And in my mind I was like, you don't know nothing. These my kids.
I be getting those to want to be like, can I talk to you in the back real quick? I'd be like, you just, you have to. Their bodies are changing. You can't play with them or yell at them. Like, oh man.
But it's right though. And I'm not saying like I believe in soft parenting or, all of that. If it works for you, it works. But I do believe that children are little humans that deserve respect.
Yeah,
right.
they do.
And so I know if Donald is having a bad day, he's gonna go off, especially on Man. If Man keeps, pushing and pushing and pushing. And so sometimes I will pull him back and be like, hey, his body language is showing that he's hurting, or hey, we know he probably has ADHD and he can't help himself right now, babe.
He gotta
Just
get this
give
boy
him some
tested.
grace.
Hey,
Like
I
legit.
had to learn that with Dorian, bro. Dorian we be like, all right, it's family time. We watching the movie. Everybody chilling. Dorian over there. I'm like, and then that's how he'll stand up and he's like looking. And that's he's standing up behind somebody on top of the couch. And I'm like, Dorian, what you doing? Huh? I'm like,
What? Huh?
sit down. And then before I paid attention to the signs, I'd be like, sit down. Sit still. Why you shaking? Like, but now I see him and I just be like, what happened in the movie, Dorian? But he could tell you everything that happened. And he's listening, he's paying attention. And it's funny because at school, the teachers don't have no problems.
Bruh.
He sits in his desk, hands.
Bruh.
He don't run around. He don't do nothing. But when he get home, well, what Cat Williams say? You see him like this, like this, and I be like, the thing you do at school. And that's why they'll try to explain. I'm like, I want to hear all the medical terms. Whatever you do at school, do that here. You know what I'm saying? At least for an hour.
And I try and tell Donald, like, but it's so, you should feel good about him being like this at home, or the kids kind of being what they are at home. And I have to tell myself that too. Because that means that they feel safe being themselves and, letting that loose at home. And that's what I want us to be just because the house I grew up in had a lot of screaming and fighting.
I'm just asking that they don't be too safe climbing in my refrigerator. You know what I mean? Like, don't be too safe.
Yeah.
Putting your sister in the laundry chute. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be too safe swinging on the baby gate and falling down the stairs.
That was funny. That was funny.
I just don't. Dorian be running so, and our dad should be doing it. Dorian be running so hard. He be running the paint off the wall. And I'd be like, if you don't bring home some Olympic gold when you were 18, 19 years old, cuz, we gonna have some problems.
Right.
Go out. And so, new generation, so a lot of kids don't go outside. Either because of the neighborhood they live in, or, we got video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids ain't going outside. So I don't remember a time in the summer where I was in the house.
Right.
My mama would kick me out.
Lock the door.
Why you in the house? I'd be like, I'm just chilling. Go outside. I'd be like,
I
gotta go
tried
outside.
that. I tried that. She was going.
Yeah. He does this when I'm not home.
I locked them out the house. Doors locked and everything. They went and got my next door neighbor to come and knock on the door to let them back in. He's like, they're hot and thirsty.
hey, but back in the day though, my mama would have been like, water hose on the side.
Water hose on the back, right? That's what
let it run for about 30 seconds before you drink it.
Right. Get that water.
Oh man, but
My kids are not about that life.
And then we just had to invent ways to like have fun.
Yeah.
And I'd be just like, sometimes I'd be looking at my kids, I'd be like, are they depressed? Like, what's going on? But it's a time that we live in where they just rather be in the house. And so I threatened my kids a couple days ago, actually. I was like, I'll make y'all go outside. And it was like in the back. I was like, no. Out in the front, in the streets. And y'all can't come back until y'all walk to the park and spend like an hour there and then come back. I don't want to hear nothing. They're like, but what about, like, this is homeless people and stuff. What about go around them? Figure it out. Like,
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Oh man,
You are intelligent.
I had to Yeah, I made it through a lot more dangerous situations. I was like, I
Right.
think y'all can deal with a couple of homeless and a couple crackheads. Y'all be all
I
right.
remember there was a time when I was 12, walking home from the park, and some dude was walking up behind me, and I remember watching like a comedy skit where dude was like, "You ever think somebody finna rob you? You act crazy." The dude was walking up behind me. He got close. I was like, "What that?" I turned around and ran away. I was like, "Ooh, I just saved my life."
And Tawado probably share this when we get back to my house. With this when we lived on Christiana, and there was a guy following her from the store, and then she had text me. It was like, this is guy following me, but he started to get closer, and so she turned. He was trying to act like he was crazy, so she turned around and she was like, "You sure you crazy? Cause I'll show you crazy." Then he straightened up real quick, and she was like, "And my husband on his way down." So I'm like halfway down the block running, and then I was like, "Where he at?" And she was like, "He wasn't that crazy." I was like, "Oh, I bet
He wasn't about that
he
crazy
wasn't about
life.
that crazy life."
He wasn't about it.
Yeah, people think that they crazy until you challenge them, and then they be like, "Oh, this ain't the one." We went down a whole different
Detour.
detour real quick.
So back about being like kids, right? So
Yeah. Did y'all? How many kids did y'all want before marriage?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, obviously now y'all ain't having no more. But
you know,
how many did y'all want?
Before I even met her, I always wanted 5 children.
Okay.
I've always wanted 5, and we have you know our 4 biological and 1 adopted, but that's I've always wanted 5. I think after the first one, I was like, we cool here. If
After
I
that
get more,
first
it's cool, but we
pregnancy,
cool here.
yeah, I was good.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord had to trick me for Donald.
How many did you want?
At first, I was on board with him with the 5, and then I found out that pregnancy is ghetto, and
She said it's ghetto.
birth was terrible. I was in hard labor for 72 hours, and then I was like, "No, we good, we good." And then he got me pregnant on Father's Day, and I was like, "You know what?
Happy Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
That I had to be
Never should've
duped into that
promised
one."
to give it here.
Yeah. So what we talked about? We talked about sex. We talked about kids. Let's talk about money.
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody have any? I want my wife to make this much. I want my husband to make this much. And then did that change when y'all got married? Jordan, you looking like, yeah, I want it. My husband.
Let me talk first.
Okay, go ahead.
I think, like for me, I just want it to be comfortable. I came from a family where my mother and my father both worked. You know, we had a house, we had a car, always had food, always had clothes. You know, nothing fancy, but I had clothes. And it was cool. Like I all I want to do is be comfortable.
You was the only kid, right?
Oh yeah, only kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Them only kids be, they don't know what it's like.
Nope.
They don't know the struggle.
Well, we had a lot of cousins. I had a lot of cousins. They were always over. You know what I'm saying? Don't do me like that. No. But yeah, I always wanted to be comfortable. And so I never really had any expectations about, you know, what I wanted to make, let alone what I wanted my spouse to make or do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, I just want to be successful and comfortable. That's all. And I am. I'm successful. I'm very comfortable.
Yeah.
Jordan.
I'm not even gonna lie. I was hoping, like, I knew he was going into education. Excuse me. And I was like, all right, he's gonna go and be a superintendent. That's right. Because I want a Jag.
How much superintendents make?
Oh, they
at the
can make
average?
like
Yeah.
200,000 to
Two something?
300,000 a year.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Deep pockets.
Deep,
Yeah.
deep.
Deep stress.
Yeah, deep stress on top of that. You know, it's that like, oh, I want that pampered, kept woman kind of life without having to be like kept. You know, I want to be like slide me a few thousand so I can go shopping, right?
She still wants to be attached to the hood. That's
I'm on the Magnificent Mile downtown Michigan, and
Right.
I'm short about 5,000. Can you send it right now?
So that was kind of the fantasy, but I'll justify that fantasy with saying that I came from like I didn't even have the other OR.
Humble beginnings.
Dirt beginnings. You know, all of the things Donald just listed off. Both of my parents worked, and we had a car, and I had a house. I didn't have none of that. I remember
you had them hands.
I did have some hands. I'm not even gonna lie. Still got hands.
I mean, when you gotta have hands when you poke, 'cause you gotta fight to keep everything.
Hey, so
that's the last piece of salami,
right? Bet you won't go for it again. So, like, I know what homelessness feels like. I know what food insecurity feels like. I know all of those things.
I never heard that term before. Food insecurity.
Like there's you don't know when the next meal is coming, right? When my brother and I are 11 months apart, I'm the second oldest of 4. But we both basically held full-time jobs to help my mom because of a lot of the stuff my dad was doing. And it was always a struggle, always a deficit. So I actually, and I've said this before, like in high school, honor roll, all of the things. And I told God, I said, if you will get me out of here and give me a better life than this, I'll do whatever you need me to do. Right? Because my desire, I think, wasn't just for this flashy life. Honestly, I just wanted security. Like, I want to know that when I go home, there's not bolts on the door, you know, all of those things. So, yeah, I mean, when we got married, I had 2 master's degrees and a nice paying job. Did I think I'd get to the level of salary I am now? I'd hoped. And when I did get there, I was like, all right, girl. But in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, well, maybe I shouldn't leave this position because the level of security I feel, right? And it goes in between the love of money being the root of all evil. And for me, it's not really the love, it's the idolatry of security. And who the true provider in that is, right? So every time he's switched a position, I've had a whole mental breakdown.
Wow.
Because the last time he did it, I was 9 months pregnant. He was like, yep, I'm leaving this job. I was like,
let's put some more respect on God's name on that one. I quit the job before I had another one.
He did. I was 9 months
pregnant. I put in my resignation and everything. I'm like, I'm out. It's like, wait for the dude.
9 months pregnant with our 4th child. And all I could think was...
Well, I knew what I was going for. I didn't know when it was going to happen. And what, 2 weeks later, I had the interview. A week later, I had the position.
A week later, he had the position. Donald has always had extremely, like, you know, that faith to be like, God's got it. I'm going to do it. Right? And for me, I'm like, okay, Lord, now I done seen some fumbles and some struggles, and I'm not really here for it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes to money like that, and we've never had anything separate. From the day we got married, Donald and I have had joint everything. So there's no his, hers, what I make, what he makes. It's not differentiated. It's what we make. And there's no, I've always made more simply because of my profession. Because of my profession.
She's a boss.
Right. I've always made more. And sometimes I think people get into this thing, well, my wife can't make more because then I won't feel like a man. No, we don't have that issue because one, it goes into everything, but I respect him as the head of our home, regardless of who makes what or who brings in what, because it's ours and his place is the head of our household. So,
and you gotta look at this too. She has 2 degrees from Northwestern. I got 1 from SIU. She better make more money than me.
but yeah, I don't think money has been a big struggle for us. It hasn't been a point of contention for us.
I think the only point of contention is when I go out and get Burger King or McDonald's or something like that. Yeah, that's
we have a budget
and food at home, but
and food at home.
Yeah,
he's the spender.
I'm
the budgeter. Now that is a point for us because I make the budgets and things like that, and say, okay, babe, we got to put this here and that here and do this and that and that. But I always make sure to not tell him about a little bit of overage because I know the man is going to go and buy cigars.
Cubans
or something. So I give a little cushion. But that's my strength. So,
Yeah, and that was a issue for a while in terms of, me trying to figure out what I contributed to that piece. But then I talked to a person, he was like, the fact that you're playing to your strength as a couple, it plays. Like if you don't know how to do the budget and the budget is in your hands, your house is going to go down. So why would you fight to do the budget and you ain't doing the budget good enough? So we keep it in our hands. If we have to do some major decisions or anything like that, I help out and to make sure the math is right and we can actually do the thing.
Because you're a math teacher.
Got it.
And, we can push through and go forward with it. But, she's very organized. She can keep track of everything and all that stuff that's
I think that'll preach. Just because you good at math don't mean you good at budgeting.
Man, because there's a lot more to budgeting than just math.
Yeah.
You got to itemize, right? I don't itemize stuff. It's a rough estimate, right? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's good, man. Yeah, I mean, number one reason why people get divorced is money.
Yeah.
Money. There was, I forget the exact, I know it's in the 80s. Percent of marriages is finances, which is just crazy. And there's different reasons why and finance stuff, but yeah.
It's all one bucket. Yep.
Yeah, that's a battle that I don't want to fight. Is money.
Yeah.
So even if it gets to a point, I was like, just let somebody else do the budget. We both see it. All right, and this is what it is. And so, no, that's good. And a couple more things. Y'all got any other ones that y'all want to touch on?
Any other ones what?
Any other myths?
Topics? Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
You said topics.
Topics.
Like more kids. No, I thought you was my friend. No more kids. What you talking about? No. You want to talk about? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, I got one. I got a question. So
them books.
She already said it, so I can say it now. You got a vasectomy. What was the thought process behind that?
No more kids, man.
I told him he couldn't touch me again until he had one.
And that didn't work because
a lot of guys be like, no, because I'm talking to some guys now. They be like,
manhood, right?
Yeah, my manhood, and
it's my seed.
It's just blah, blah, blah. It's just a whole bunch of insecure, dumb.
They just don't want no scissors next to their penis. That's all.
It ain't no scissors now, though. It ain't scissors now. The technology is. I think it's even evolved.
It was a laser, right? It was a laser, yeah.
Mine was, it was this device. It looked like a metal banana.
Yours is more high tech than mine.
Yeah.
I had a lady who was talking to me about Prince concert. And I was like, what? She said, yeah, I was going to see Prince yesterday. It was cool. I'm like, Prince, how you see Prince? They dead. She's like, no, just the concert and everything, blah, blah, blah. And we done. I was like,
That's what they do to keep you distracted.
Well,
they did the same thing. So they gave me the medicine, diazepam, and I was like, I thought it was for pain. So I'm like, take this 30 minutes before. They didn't tell me it was gonna make me sleepy. I actually drove there. So I drove, went upstairs. get there. I'm like, he's like, all right, take your hat, your hoodie off. I'm hanging my head up. I'm like, I started like, ooh, little lightheaded. I was like, is it because I'm nervous? I was like, what's going on? Go to take my hoodie off, almost fall. Woo! He was like, just have a seat. So I sit down, take my hoodie off, and then they go lay on the bed. He was like, we'll be done in about 15 minutes.
Right.
He was like, the medicine is kicking in, and he was like, it's gonna make you relax. You might fall asleep, and I was like, I ain't fall asleep. I'm gonna be up, man. Nobody's finna be around me.
Like you would actually do something about it.
Bro, I laid on that.
Hey, wrong angle.
I laid on that table. I think I was out in like a minute and a half. He was talking. I don't even remember what he was talking to me about.
I'm mad they knocked you
And then
out.
I came back and I was like, wait. I jumped back up and he was like, all right, we're gonna get started. I seen him. He did the thing. But then he was talking to me about something. And then the last thing I remember him saying was like, you might feel like a little bit of pressure. He was like, I'm gonna count to 3. I think I was asleep when he said 1. And then he was done in 7 minutes. I was out of that in exactly 28 minutes from the time I walked in to I was walking out.
How did you walk out though?
Tawanda got a video of me walking out. I didn't feel nothing until the next day. Cause I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to work, I'm fine. And then I went to get out the bed. I was like, oh Lord. It was like, hey, called my boss like, oh, hey, yeah, happening today. I'll see y'all. But yeah, mine was I did it to serve my wife. Mm-hmm. We actually wanted one more, but with Dash, like Tawanda almost died. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, I'm not gonna put her through that again. You know what I'm saying? And so just like y'all, I got it, and then now she can't keep her hands off me. I'd be like, all right, woman, relax. Hey.
It's something about that freedom.
It's about that freedom.
Be like, well, you know what? I'm not gonna get pregnant. I'm okay with it.
There's no consequence.
None.
There's no consequences.
But I think that for men who are pushing against it, like about the manhood argument, my first question is that, do you love her? And if pregnancy is not something she wants to go through, whether she had rainbows and Skittles for pregnancy and birth, or she had what I had, which was dumpster fire, like, if she no longer wants to take the risk and put her body through it, if you love her, why is it something that you wouldn't want to do? And I've heard some men be like, well, you know, you can get your tube tied and blah, blah, blah. That is major surgery.
It's major surgery. The recovery time could be longer than 6 weeks.
Yes. Heaven forbid you get a blood clot. Said heaven forbid you get a blood clot.
Yeah, it's a lot of more complications and risk with the woman getting that done. So I was like doing my research, and then it was cheaper and faster, and my recovery was 3 days. Yeah. And I was just like, this is a no-brainer.
So much cheaper.
Why would I have my wife go through all of that when I could just go ahead and get this done?
And then your wife was also obligated to help you get. You had to get some rotation, at least 30, right?
He told me 20, but...
She told me 30.
Oh. You said 30.
Yeah, somewhere around there. 20, 30, somewhere around there. But you gotta, 20 to 30 times, before you gotta go back and get checked. And then there's still more, then you gotta do it again.
You gotta go back.
It's fun. We talk about that off camera. All right, I got some fun questions.
Okay.
Some fun questions. All right. So, what do you guys do fun together?
Escape rooms.
I was gonna say that.
I just did an escape room for the second time on my job on Friday. We went to the escape room.
Man, we was doing what, 21?
Yeah. We love them.
I think the idea now whenever we actually do get to travel, and that's another thing we need to talk about. Traveling. Yeah. But whenever we do get out the city, we try to find an escape room to do. Like that's for that city, because every city has like a different type of homemade escape room. I think one of our first ones was like in Denver, and we had dressed up real nice to go out on a date and everything else. So we went to an escape room, like in the middle of the escape room, we had to get on the floor and crawl through a tunnel.
Yeah.
So she's in her skirt and I'm in my nice slacks and dress shoes, just crawling through a hole trying to get to the next room. But yeah, escape rooms,
Yeah.
seeing each other TikToks.
Yes. We're those people.
Y'all, I think that's becoming a trend now.
Yeah.
Where people be like just in the bed, just watching.
And sending each other.
Yeah.
It's, it has turned into a mutual love language of quality time. And so I find doing those things with him fun. And it connects us. But also I enjoy the fact that my husband likes to nerd out with me, and will go and watch superhero movies with me, and we can talk about them and go do escape rooms. So the only thing we don't connect on is my love of watching the NFL. He likes football, but he's not going to watch,
How many games you trying to watch on Sunday?
All of them?
I watch.
So you get the NFL package?
We used to.
Yeah, we used to. I used to have like the 3 screens on. You know what? I wasn't betting, although I would probably be really decent at it.
Probably make a lot of money betting, yeah.
But I don't gamble. But
I'm gonna text you, hey Jordan, who you got?
Right. That's what he did when he was building his league. I was sitting right next to him, babe, get him.
You are telling everybody.
I'm sorry. Sorry. But those are the things we like to do.
Thought it said. You telling everybody. Oh man. What you guys is the biggest strength of your relationship?
Sex.
Donald. See, you said it once and now he's
That's the biggest strength? Hey, what's y'all biggest strength? Getting busy.
Right.
Knocking boots.
The fellowship.
I mean, we got 5 kids. We gotta get a new bed frame every year.
Donald.
You know what I'm saying? You okay?
I'll be expecting some of the stuff that you be saying, bro. Oh man.
Well, on a non-sexual nature.
DonaldOwensComedy.com. You can see me on Facebook, Instagram.
I think humor with us. Humor has gotten us through a lot of things. In communication, although we're getting, I think, past a season of really poor communication.
And I was just gonna say, that's funny that you say communication, because it's like when you ask God to strengthen something, like He gives you a season of reasons to help you strengthen it. It's like, Lord, I want to communicate better. Those stuff in your life to make us figure out how to communicate better, right?
Yeah. And we sure enough figured out how to communicate better.
I'm in a season of patience, and then I'm around high school kids.
Hey, yeah.
Be careful what you ask
Pray for me, everybody.
Yeah, I'm in a season of wanting to lose weight. I got a snacks and everything.
That is a choice. That's not a test. That's a choice. Okay.
I mean, Satan do tempt you though. Everything be on sale. You be like, just come back with a whole cart. Like, it's all on sale. It's in the budget. It's in the budget. Oh man, that's good. So
I think also our strength as a couple is being open with other couples. We don't have too much. We love giving experience advice to people. We definitely let people kind of do what they're gonna do. But if you're gonna ask for some advice, we're gonna tell you what we through our experience. I think like something we have to get back to was a strong suit of ours was fellowshipping with people.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kids ask about y'all at least twice a month.
Word.
I'd be like, I'm sorry.
We've kind of become hermits a little bit here.
And I think it's a point where we got this nice big house that we have to do so much with. And we just don't want people to see the process, which I think is a part of the whole fellowshipping piece, like letting people see our process.
Yeah. Letting people
especially
see the
us, we ain't judging you.
Yeah. Why you got that 10-foot weed in your backyard, man? Close your mouth.
I'd be like, Donald, we be talking about ideas.
Yeah, for real.
You gonna put this right here? We know somebody who we can call to get some ideas.
Right.
A whole bunch.
All right, last question. How has Jesus impacted your marriage?
Definitely kept it together. Definitely kept it together. Year 12 was hard. And we're at the end of 11 to 12.
Last year.
Year 11 to 12 was hard. Because I think there's a realization that with this last baby and everything, and knowing we're not having children after this, the people we were at 25 and 26 are definitely not the people we are at 39. And there was a point where I had gotten to, there were some things going on with me and everything, but we had gotten to the point where I suggested separation. And,
She suggested separation.
he's such a hater. But I if it wasn't for the intervention of Christ, right? And the belief in the faith, even though I feel like I've been in a spiritual valley season for a while, dealing with residual anger and, disappointment and stuff like that. I think it fell on Donald more to have faith to hold us both up. And that's the intervention of God's love in a situation, to be able to sustain him when I couldn't sustain me, and to sustain our marriage when I was ready to let him go. And I told him this, I feel like you could be happy and just not with me. So.
Okay, small question. Did you mention this to my wife?
I did not. I haven't told anybody.
She
I told
asked
my
me.
mom.
She asked me a question. She was like, "You talked to Donald?" And then I was like, "No." And that was it. And I was just like, "Huh? Why you asking me that?" And just hearing that, I was thinking. But anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
When she asked you that? She talked to?
This was about a year or so ago.
Oh, yeah. We were in the thick of it.
And Tawada be flowing and she be knowing people's business. And I'd be like, she be knowing some of my business. I'd be like,
well, and I will say that's the intervention now, right? But God has been extremely faithful in both of our lives, but especially in our marriage. Like, there's not a time, even though my brain, because I'll own it, anxiety and depression are parts of who I am. They're with me, mitigated through, thank the Lord for Lexapro and prayer and salvation.
Hallelujah.
The intervention in every situation, and the blessing of being married to a man who does indeed love me as Christ loved the church, right? Accepts my blemishes, has taken on being my batting ram, and has never once turned his back on me to say, nah, you too crazy. Now, that doesn't mean Donald is not a saint. He is not. But it
talking about you.
If he's in Christ, he's a saint.
What I'm saying is,
all of
that sounds like I'm saying like he's of no fault, but he is. He has some faults and things like that.
Let
but
me talk about my faults.
I'll let you talk about your own faults.
Thank you.
But God has been faithful in our marriage, that He sustained us and grown us in seasons that probably should have broken us. Very much so should have broken us.
Oh man, I'm a saint. Oh man, yeah. I think as an only child, I have a really hard time initially empathizing with people, and also because of who I am in terms of how I look. I've learned to put a lot of my energy on what my facade is going to be towards the world. So I don't, for one, get shot and killed or accused of doing something I don't want to do. So unfortunately, it doesn't leave a lot of space and energy for the ones who I'm at home with. So when she says I come home tired and sometimes having a bad day, she sees like who I can be with everybody else, and I'm not like that 100% when I'm at home. And she's taken a lot of time to kind of hold that mirror up to get me to see that over the years, right? And so the idea of figuring out who I am within Christ for my marriage in terms of how I want to be as a father, how I want to be as a husband is like a continual reflection thing for me. I don't think I've hit it 100% just yet, but I think I'm still I'm actively still engaged in trying to figure out who that is. Because for one, it's not just my life anymore, right? It's my wife, who my kids see me as, how they are going to be when they get older, who they're going to attract when they get older, things that I think about. And so, I've had a lot of growing up to do since being married, and a lot of interpersonality changes that had to happen. That being the only child, you think you're perfect. I'm good. There's no issues with me. I'm good. I'm fine. But then, like you deal with somebody else and their emotions and how they're seeing the world. Initially you're like, yo, you crazy. Then you be like, it's kind of valid. Why can't I think like that? Or why don't I think like that? Mm-hmm. And so I got to take my perspective in terms of why I move how I move, why she moves the way that she moves, and then figure out how can I rearrange how I do things to meet her where she is. And, it's going to be horrible to say this.
I'm wondering if you're going to go where I think you're going to go. But go ahead.
Where am I going to go?
Go ahead. Let me
see. I've as dating people, I've come to the realization that, everybody has their issues, right? And so when I met her, I realized that, she's dealing with her issues in a way that I can help her out, right? It's not like she was never lashing out at me. She was never violent towards me. She was never condescending towards me. But she did take responsibility for some of the things that she was dealing with and tried to work through them, which was a quality that I love because I knew I wouldn't have to fight my demons and her demons all at the same time. Just me, which is what I've done in a lot of past relationships and why they didn't last. So you are doing a lot of the good work by yourself. It's not just, me being there for you. You are doing a lot of the heavy lifting also as well.
Thank you.
And dealing with your past and your trauma.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, do you want to know where I thought he was going to go with that?
No, sure. That was the last question. We did.
No, we go ahead. We can edit this out, but this is bloopers or whatever.
Right.
Or we might keep it. This might be good. I don't know. Let's see.
Can I tell about the
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay. So let me tell you one
12
way.
years now.
It's 12 years. Yes. One way that the Lord has intervened, right? Infidelity is a big thing with me because of my family background. And so it was always like, hey, you cheat, we done. It's not a let's keep going. For the first 10 years of our marriage, every year, and it wasn't physical cheating, but Donald would have what would feel like an emotional affair with a colleague or coworker or someone he was in like one of his educational cohorts with. And every single time, like, I'm not one of those women that's like, I need to see and go through your phone all the time. I literally, every single time that it turned the corner to an emotional affair, the Holy Spirit would kick my tail until I got up And every time he would leave his phone.
Telling you to
yes,
check some?
Check the phone. Check. And I'd be like, nope, don't need to do that. Nope, don't need to. And I'd boom, and there it would be. And he was always oblivious, or at least he seemed oblivious to it. But it would be like good morning text first thing in the morning, and then they're talking throughout the whole day and things like that. And so in year 10, when it happened, I told him, I was like, I'm done with this. This is a fight and a cycle that, you know, we're having, but you're not doing the work to figure out why you need this from other women beyond what I give you. And then when we kind of were going through the initial thick of it in year 11, when things felt like they might crumble, he started doing some work, and we got into an argument, and I brought it up, and it was one moment that I think he finally caught it, and he was like, I see it now, right? I realized that, yeah, no, I was wrong, because it had gone to the point where, remember, I was pregnant with Coco, and he was at a get together for one of his master's classes, and one of the women took a picture and they posted on Facebook of them hugged up, and I'm home pregnant. Right?
There, your eyes. You were like, ooh.
Right?
I think
so the good Lord has intervened. But I think also part of that is, like you said, him seeing me do the work and being willing to do that work and take myself to task, and call that out, that he began to do it when he saw the detriment that it had caused me, that I had come to a point of feeling like, well, if you've got to go to them, what do you need me for? Right? So the Lord has been kind and has been faithful in keeping us solid, even though foundations have gotten rocky. He's repaired it. So,
amen. That's such a blessing. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all want to share anything else? Y'all got anything like big y'all planning to do or come up with that y'all might want to share? You don't have to if you don't want to.
Brother fishing, boy, he fishing.
Know, is there anything else?
Well, we have an intimate gel cream coming out now.
really don't. I'm so glad this isn't live. I'm so glad this isn't live.
Oh yeah, we're working on something. So I think we've talked about, you know, establishing a podcast.
Hey,
for ourselves, just trying to figure out what direction we want to go into.
Yeah.
You want to say the name?
Well, we haven't really settled on it.
Oh, we did. It was kind of dope.
Well, it was what, Chaos and Cuddles?
Mm-hmm.
But then I was thinking,
She's
like,
the chaos,
Owens
I'm the
for
cuddles.
Really? Chaos and Cuddles. But then I was like, no, I don't like that. That's like we're giving nicknames, whatever, and that's not what it was supposed to mean. I thought Owens forever, but we'll shop it.
okay.
We'll shop it.
Well, let me know when y'all ready to launch.
And we do have another thing coming out, like for real. A seasoning brand.
Yeah.
Coming out
What's that called?
for chicken. A seasoning brand for chicken.
A seasoning for chicken?
Yeah, so a dry rub for grilling chicken.
He came up with his own, and it's legit.
It's I'm gonna so bear with me with the name. Okay. It's called Dirty on All Fours.
Dirty
on all fours.
All fours.
Now there's two different meanings to that name. One is
right.
You know, it's based off of my uncle who used to grill a lot, and when one time he dropped some chicken on the floor after he grilled it. He was like, "It's still good. Just eat it on all fours. That's all." And so I kept that in my mind, but there's another reason for it. You know, some people will realize it, and some people, you know, won't. Don't say no.
Okay. Not my story to tell.
Donald be grilling. He be grilling.
Yeah.
And he makes some really good gumbo. We was talking about it earlier, and now I'm thinking about it.
Licking your lips. But it was crazy because as I was thinking about the seasoning, like to do it and like continue it with other flavors and everything, it's actually very, very simple. It's just we got to stay consistent with it in terms of how we want to do it and what's the design of how we're going to do it, right? So we could do a marinade. We'll just have people add oil to whatever the seasoning that we have and everything else. But so we're going to start with the chicken. Then we're going to go to pulled pork. Then from there, it'll be a brisket one. And then from there, it'll be like other random stuff that we could probably try to do. But the 4 essentials is the Yardbird, the chicken, the pulled pork, and the brisket.
Okay. What about the comedy?
So one of my bucket lists was to one thing on my bucket list was to do a stand-up comedy show, which I did, checked off. And then in the midst of it, a lot of the jokes that I wrote were not PC.
No, they weren't PC at all.
And so I've given some of the jokes away. I plan on selling some of the other jokes, but because I've had a career change.
And because your wife is in a certain career field.
I'm gonna go back on and do some shows.
Just do a mass comedian stand up. Just have a mask on.
I have a mask on.
just crack out jokes.
Yeah. I have some things puppets. I have some things written down. So I think hopefully before my next birthday, I'll probably do 2 more shows. I have a few comedians who are I really look up to in the Chicagoland area who I'm going to reach out to help me. You know, they've already given me some great advice, so I'm going to take their advice first and then to the next level see what I need to do. But yeah,
first one was good, man.
Thank you, appreciate
that.
that.
I enjoyed myself. I forgot me and Adam came to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was good.
When he claimed he wouldn't know if it was his baby unless he saw the gap.
As you can see.
No, I think y'all podcast is gonna be off the chain because Donald is funny, and then Jordan is serious. So when he says things and get the reaction out of her, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
And I can use a certain type of language as well.
No, you can't.
And I haven't heard it yet. Well, you haven't said it tonight. So normally it's a. Can I do it?
Go ahead.
Donald.
You are right. I haven't heard it tonight.
I heard it tonight.
I've been trying to keep it together.
But man, I look forward to it, man. We're gonna get up out of here. But I appreciate y'all coming on. First time being on the podcast. Yay. Don't let it be the last.
Oh,
and
man,
then
I told you next time I'm gonna have my man unit on. We're gonna be rocking it.
I bet. I bet. All right, y'all. Thank y'all. Listen, if you've been encouraged, blessed, inspired by this video tonight, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are on the road to 1,000. Trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. But I need y'all help. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. My name is Derry, here with the amazing Owens, Donald, and Jordan. Until the next time, we out of here. Peace.
Peace.